Hello everyone, I am going to do a short video on why be a part of the association. Many of these answers will be applicable to different denominations, but I am doing this in the context of my denomination, the Ohio Valley Association of Christian Baptist Churches of God. So again, why be a part of the association? The Hartford Institute of Religion Research 2010 put out a study that 12 million plus people are affiliated with non-denominational churches. At least 35,000 non-denominational churches are in America. Non-denominational churches are one of the top 5 largest religious groups in 48 of the states. Thom Rainer in 2015 put out an informal poll and put together the 8 top reasons why people will leave a denominational church to join a non-denominational church. First off, they have had denominations as a whole have a negative reputation among people. People will say, well, denominations, well, that's denominator. That means that they're divisive. They're root of the problem of the different things that's going on in the religious realm today. Why can't we all just be under one church name? Why do we have to have so many denominations, church groups and stuff like that? So negative reputation. They're known more for what they are against rather than what they are for. Church politics. Church politics and denominational politics. People don't want to be around it. Too liberal. And this is more for the denominations that are considered mainline, such as the United Methodist Church, PCUSA, Presbyterian Church, the Evangelical Lutheran Church. Different churches that are in the mainline denominations are considered too liberal. And so we have seen even shakeups where denominations have split there because of that reason. Also that they're too inefficient and too bureaucratic, and I believe this goes with the next reason. They're not good stewards of their financial resources. There's too much red tape, different things like that. The last reason is what I'm going to focus on, is that they are seen as no perceived benefit. What good? Why be part of the association? This is my answer. It is threefold. And I pardon for not having this done with animations. My screencast software was not allowing me to do full screen with putting it into PowerPoint. So what are the benefits of the association? Why be a part of the association? Well, the first thing that I want you to realize is that it is more than just fellowship. When you go to a non-denominational church, they may be able to have you fellowship with other local churches in your area or different churches across the world, but I want you to understand that there are 3 main purposes or benefits of being part of the association. And when you are joining a non-denominational church or a community church, going from looking at the screen left to right, fellowship, support, accountability, you will find a declining availability. Fellowship, you might still be able to find portions of it outside of your local church, but support decreases and accountability almost completely disappears. So, what is the fellowship of the Christian Baptist? We have a beautiful history starting in 1931. And we're not afraid to say that. We are part of the larger global church. We're not afraid to say that we have been connected. We can trace our roots, and we're not ashamed of our roots going all the way back to the early church. We have a beautiful history, and being part of the association grants you that history, that you're not an island, that you are part of a group of churches, the whole worldwide church, the universal church, not the church with a denomination, but the church that is Jesus Christ. So that's part of the history, knowing that. There's also the common denominator of beliefs. We have a particular belief system. We're not Catholic in our belief, and we're not once in grace, eternal security, Calvinist in another belief. We are Arminian, holiness, Wesleyan Arminian. We have a particular set of beliefs. And you say, well, some of that stuff is silly. Not when it gets down to the biblical reasons. And if you want a good conversation on it, then we can have that in another place. But being part of the association shows that I have a recognized fellowship of people that have like beliefs. There's also a shared culture. We understand that some denominations have a culture that is very loose in the way that they dress and the way that they live. We have our own culture, and we accept that culture when we are part of this association. This is part of submitting to one another that the Bible calls us, and we submit to that culture, to the convictions of that culture, to the group understanding. We submit to that. But we also have fellowship in our multiple camps that we have, in the revivals that we can go to, the different ministers' conferences and classes, and outside of that, the different activities, different serving opportunities, different fellowship and gatherings that we can be part of with fellowship. Now, like I said, you might be able to be a part of that, and this is one precaution of most non-denominational churches today. The new trend is networks. And even though your church may not be part of a denomination, it very well could be part of a network or a group of churches that they still pay money into to receive support and to receive accountability, and for the pastor to have like-minded people to associate with freely. And so denominations is not disappearing. In fact, it's being renamed as networks. That's the new terminology for it. But outside of fellowship, when you leave the association, you also lose the support. There is local church help. When one church struggles, we do see an effort to try and help. I've seen a beautiful demonstration of that at camp this year, when there was no shame and no put down of one church trying to improve its facilities and other churches coming in to help it. There was this like-mindedness. That's not only their church, but this is our church, and we group together to help with that financially. We also are able to pull our resources together for foreign missions, for local missions type things, where one church, if they were to send their money to a foreign missionary, it would be very little. But when we pull that together and organize it, it is able to go out to do a greater good. Also, we're beyond financial support for one another, but we can share ideals with each other. We can share, because we have a similar culture with other churches. We can see what's going on in their churches that is working, what isn't working, and we can discuss ideals, and we can glean from each other, unashamed, because we're in this together. We're pulling together. There's also discernment, and this is a big area where I think non-denominational churches miss out. Is there is a lack of co-church discernment. If you remember in Acts 15, we seen believers from all the existing churches, elders from all the churches coming together to make a decision over the future of the church and its reception of the Gentiles. When you are a non-denominational church, you do not have the benefit of other churches coming in to help make decisions regarding the future of your networks. There's also what I call the contramande help. When one church takes the stand against the world, that's what contramande means, against the world, and it's taken a stand against some issues that is nationwide. They're not alone. They have not only themselves, but they also have a like-minded association to help them take this stand and to bolster their stand. The last part that I see as being beneficial of the association that you lose in non-denominations is accountability. First off, there's accountability to standing in a certain group of beliefs. One experience that I had with a non-denominational community church was that they kept going through different pastors. They had a transition of pastors in about every 2 years, and the interesting thing is that the beliefs of the church changed from charismatic Pentecostal, like under one pastor, to the next pastor being Calvinistic, eternal security, once in grace, always in grace, preaching that, and it was whatever pastor. The next pastor came in with a Wesleyan Arminian background, and so the church was all heading towards holiness and different things like that. Now then another pastor's come in, and it's a totally different belief system. there is no accountability. And the people say, well, we have it in our bylaws. Well, our church has its bylaws. Our non-denominational community church has its bylaws. But if you wanted to change your beliefs, who's going to stop you? The people that are members there? That's as far as it goes. If a rebuke from an outside church, well, that's just words. There is accountability with churches to preach and teach a certain doctrine within a denomination. This also extends to the actions of the church, to the activities that they hold, to the things that they bless and the things that they close. It is also accountable to the association. And finally, there is stewardship of the church's belongings, what has been given to that church. It is being monitored and is held accountable to a group of churches to make sure that their possessions, their finances, their property is not being misused for other purposes. And so again, we see that the benefits of the association are multiple. There's fellowship, there's support, and there's accountability. And when you go away from a denomination, when you go away from the association to a non-denominational church, we see a declining availability of these benefits that are very important to church life. Have a great day and God bless.